Hello, good evening. It's Wednesday, so it's whatever we fancy on a Wednesday. So I have got a cut-out page for my journal. I found some rather nice, well, it's not my cup of tea patterned paper, but it will be with what the idea I've got. So we'll make that work. And then I need to decide if we're going to go with a big flower. Actually, I'll show you. We're either going to use a really big flower, that one, or we're going to use the really big lady head. Yeah, so I can't decide which one we're going to use on the top, but we'll get there. I think I've got a bit of an idea. So, good evening, Maxine. Yeah, I've got an idea. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I forgot to say hello on that one, so bear with me 2 seconds. There we go. I knew there was something I forgot to do before we went live. There we go. All set now. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Yep. So should we get going? I think so. Let me whiz that one round. There we go. So that is our decision for tonight. Are we going with big lady, the big lady head, because it is huge and it just fits on this 8x8 piece of card, or our big flower? That is the question, which one we're going to use. But before we do all that, before we get to our focal point, we need to do our background, don't we? So I have picked out, I've got some of my favourite, well, I shouldn't say favourite because they're all my favourites. I've got my spots, I'm thinking this one. I've got my numbers, and then this one to go on my pattern paper that I'm about. Yeah, because we can always turn pattern paper into something we like, can't we? So that's where I'm starting. I knew there was something I forgot to get, a tub of water, because that's what I needed. Completely forgot to grab my tub with some water in. So bear with 2 seconds. We'll do it another way. Oops. This one looks like it's been brush over. Be fine. So I've got my tub, let me just pop some water in it. It does look like it's been brush over though, so just a little bit, but it'll be fine, because I want to do a lovely colour wash background to begin with. So I've got some rather dirty looking water now. I want a big fat paintbrush, and I have got, basically you've seen, I've got my brush out in front of me. So I have got a bit of a rainbow, so red, orange, yellow, red, orange, yellow, blue, green. Is that right? Which should I? Yeah, we'll figure it out. I prefer it that way, I think, because then it kind of graduates, doesn't it? Anyway, they're my colours. We're just going to get going. I'm going to start with my yellow, because out of my 5 colours, yeah, it's in the middle. Yeah, so I'm going to start with my middle one, and it's also my palest. So we're going to go yellow, and some water. My paintbrush isn't very clean, neither is that water. We're off to a good start, aren't we? Let's clean my paintbrush before we begin. There we go, that's better. So I'm just going to really water this down. Over there, thank you very much. And then this is just going to go, just colour washing basically. So we're just going to go to our edges. I want to try and leave a little bit of a white border, not much. There we go. There's me trying to clean off my paintbrush, and I've got a tub of water tonight. And then we're going to add our colours either side. So let's grab our orange. I'm going to spritz that one down. There we go. So I'm going to start up here. Again, with the sound effects. I was doing this on Monday, wasn't I? Sound effects as we craft. Would be cool if you had a really big fat paintbrush for this though, wouldn't it? So we've got our orange. I don't want nice straight lines down the edge. I want that look of it's been painted on, because that's what we're doing. Got our orange. And we're going to grab our red. Evening Mum. I was thinking it was actually quite warm tonight. I've come in here. I had my big woolly jumper on, my cardi. It feels like a teddy bear giving you a hug. And I came in here, it was like, whoa! I know it's been hot outside today, because in here it's boiling. At first I thought I'd left the heater on. I haven't. I'd have known about that one. So. But yeah, I came in, woof, it was hot. Or I'm just having a hot flush, one of the two. Right, so we've got our red. You can see where this is going, can't you? I'm going to leave that red on there because I think red will be quite a good one for splattering, won't it? Okay, so I'll take my green because that's my next one down. Evening, Noala. There we go. So I'm just going to grab my green on there. Did it the other way, didn't I? I started with my main colour and then went down to it, so it's out my brush, but it's okay. Get some of that dark up here. And then we're going to get that lovely blue. I've actually cheated, I've got violet again. Yeah, I love that violet that we used the other day. I'm going to use that again. Evening, Rachel. Evening. I think it's Maxine over on Newberry Tube. I think. Oh. I always start sneezing, don't I? And then we've got our blue. Oops. I want that a bit more intense than that. I know I said I wanted a bit of a colour wash, but that was... Oh, and I've got rid of my nice white border, never mind. There we go. Right. So we've got a bit of a rainbowy background going on. There we go. I'm going to leave that up there and I'm going to leave my paintbrush there. And I'm not going to go and put my paper in that pile. She says, famous last words, hey. Let's get this dry. And we still need to answer the question, are we going for big lady head or are we going for big flower? Doesn't matter either way because the background's still going to be the same. Just whether we're going with the big lady head or the flower. I know I am really technical, aren't I, with the stamp names. I can't remember my time. It looking pretty cool, isn't it, that rainbow? But so quick to do. Just a quick colour wash, but it does pack a punch, doesn't it? If you want it to be really smart, I guess, mask it off. Yeah, nice neat edges, but actually I love the bit. The reason I'm going to town drying it is because we are going to do a bit of embossing on it in a moment, but that's down the line. Maxine's saying flower, so we're going to use, oops, nearly weren't using it, we're going to use the big flower off that one. That's fine, we will use that one. So I'm going to start off with my numbers first. We'll put this on. So we're just building up our background, that's all I am doing. Let's put my green back up there because it was annoying me, it wasn't in my colours. It's not in the right order either, so let's just sort that out. There we go, right order now. Hey, Everything falling off my desk tonight. So if we're going to use that big flower, I am thinking of a background. I think I'm just going to splat that right in the middle. So I'm going to want, I'm just going to do my corners like I normally do. I don't know why I questioned it. So now I can tidying up. There it is. These haven't been put, they haven't been given a drawer yet. I've been tidying up and sorting out. All my mementos are in one drawer instead of over 2 little boxes and things like that. So now I can't find a thing. Not that I could before. So I've just gone for grey. And we're just going to start adding a few bits in here. I know I've still got that ink on my desk, but we will be using that shortly. Oops, that made me jump. There we go. My light decided to fall. I must have been pressing on too hard with my ink pad. Oops, I should have done that the other way around. Never mind, we'll pop that one there. And we'll go back in with an inked up one. And I know I've only got my 1, 2, my 0, 2, 3, 4s. But we'll do the other ones in a moment. So let's do that over that way a little bit. So I know I'm going outside of me bit we stamped before. That's okay. That we inked up before. Right, I'm not going to do too much with that one. Let me grab the other numbers. So I've got my 5 through 9. And I know I'm stamping upside down. So just make sure I do it properly. Let's do our 9 here. And we'll do that bit there. And I'm just going to put 5 and 6 there. But you'll notice I'm keeping the flab of my fingers, yeah, underneath the end of my stamp so it doesn't get too much on it. I'm going to do exactly the same again now so it doesn't go out too far. Yep. And I am just going to pop another little bit just down there. It doesn't quite look. There we go. I'm going to do exactly the same down here. So fill in any gaps I've got. And then like here, I want it to extend, but I don't want, if I do that, I think it might be a bit too much. So when I come to stamp it, I'm just keeping this end raised and pressing down that side. So I get as much or as little as I want. Okay, I think I might just do my number 9 again there. 9 and a bit of 8. Oh, might as well have a 5 up there, haven't we? There we go. So that was smoky grey we used for that one. And I'm going to still, I know, it's still there, it's still looking at me. We are going to use it. Just deciding. To be fair, I could do my splatters now because you know I want to splatter. Put that one away. I'm going to do the splatters now. And then I can clean up my desk as we go. Because otherwise it's just going to end up everywhere, isn't it? I know you put it in. That tub of water is... So my green's down here, I'm going to pop a bit up here. You really don't need much, do you, when you're doing your splattering and stuff. And I'm going to go for, I've got enough of my violet, maybe. Again, let's have a little bit. Go, running out of water on that one. There we've got that lovely red. What did I use? I used rose red. And what I want to do is basically have my background, so I'm happy with it before we do our embossing, because I think that will be my last step. So in my head I've got that I want these in white. Yeah, so I just want to add a few of these in white. I know it's not going to stand out on this bit, but it is over our colour. So I know I want to bring little patches of these up on here. So I don't want to overdo it with my background, but I don't want to underdo it either, if that's even a word. There we go. Right, let's get this dry again, shall we? Pop that down there. I'm just making sure, because we want to emboss on top of it, I need this to be dry. Not kind of dry, dry for once. Wouldn't it be cool if you had, like, instead of having like a heat one, you had like a drying machine? We've got one for the stamps, but they still come out as wet as they went in. It changes them from like dripping wet to like soggy. It would be cool, just like a little drying drawer that you put your work in, does all your embossing stuff for you. Right, I'm actually loving that. Yep, looking quite cool now. I think before I go to town with my dots and things, I am going to work on my flower next. Yeah, I am. So I'm going to move that to one side, even though I do love it. Yep, I do like that. And here is my, you can tell how badly messed up my desk is. I can't even get a 12 by 12 sheet on. There we go. Saying that, no matter how big your desk is, you always end up working out a little bit, don't you? So I've got this one. I don't know if it quite comes across. There you go. It's not a bad piece of pattern paper, but it's not one I'd probably, you know, normally if I'm using pattern paper, I want big, bright, bold colours. So it probably gets overlooked as pattern paper goes. So we're going to stamp our flower. Or just take the whole thing out, you know you're going to. And I'm going to need a poly mount. Take that stamp off now. Nearly. There we go. Right, so we want this big one on here now. I think we used this the other day, didn't we? Let's have a look what I've got behind me. I know I've used it recently, but I can't tell if that's something I've already shared or I haven't shared. I do get confused with what I have and haven't shared. Right, come on, play fair, thank you. Right, so we're just going to stamp it in black. Just like that, so give it a really good ink up. Make sure you get all your bits and your bobs. See, I'd missed that petal out. There we go. And I'm just going to stamp it down here where I haven't got any of those like fancy bits. And stamp it right down in this bottom corner. Reminds me of like old-fashioned wallpaper, you know, like you see in the movies. Just saying that, mine's got a texture like that. It's not the two colours, but it's definitely got a texture. I've done it again. I must be being very, very heavy-handed tonight. I'm just giving this a real good press all over, because I know my hands are not playing. There we go. Good enough. Right. There you go, you can see again now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that out, so I'm working on a smaller piece of card paper, thickish paper. I can't decide if I want to stamp it again actually. Should we, shouldn't we? Tell you what, I'm not, but we might. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to grab my handwriting, I was going to do my handwriting in black, but I think I'm going to do it in my grey. So I'm going to grab my smoky grey again, once I've stuck my stamp. There we go. Need a squarish stamp block for this one. That's too small. There we go. Pop that on there. I know that's a sticky one, it stuck to my desk. I'm going to grab that grey again that we had. And you can see where we're going with this now, can't you? I need to sort of stand out for that lamp, don't I? It's making me jump a lot. So we're just going to start by popping this on here. When I'm doing this, so that was the end of my stamp before, yeah? What I don't want to do is go and stamp it again like that, because you will then see, your eye is going to see that it was pattern built, yeah? The image was stamped multiple times, whereas if you offset it, they're not going to see it. I can't remember which bit of the stamp I've stamped and which I haven't, so I think the whole thing up to do this last little bit. And again, I'm just overlapping as well. Right. You can't really see that, it's just confusing. Let's up. There we go. Yeah. So let's pop that down there. I'm going to pop that back on its carrier sheet. Well, no, I'm going to leave it on there in case we want to do another level. So I'm using, this is going to be our colour, yeah? Let's move my paintbrush out of the way, let's get our light back. I do really need to sort that stand out. So this is all our colour. So on top, we're just going to get that, yeah? So because it's got no colour, that's what's going to make it pop. But I do want it to have a little bit of colour. So I am looking for either vintage photo. I just realised I was talking to a wall then. I turned around as I was talking. So I want my vintage photo, or I want tea dye. That was the other one I was thinking of, which I know will be in this pile. I'm just having a rummage, and there it is. Whoa. I've got tea dye. Tea dye will work. going to move that up there. Just going to do a little bit of painting with that too there. I always forget how pale and translucent inks are versus oxide. Let's move my paintbrush out of the water. I'm being naughty girl, standing it up on its bristles in water. Pop that down there. Might need to go a little bit darker actually tonight. Should have probably got gathered twigs. Don't know if you can quite see this on the desk, but it is there. So I'm just going to start pulling a bit of this colour in. I could distress it, but I'm in a painting mood tonight. Do you ever get that feeling that you just want to paint? Plus my hands were making funny noises when I was they were creaking and cracking when I was doing my stamping before. So I think painting's the way to go tonight. I'm just adding a teeny tiny bit. I know, adding colour to it when I said I wasn't, but it's kind of the same. It's that distressed look, isn't it? So I'm starting off with these back ones. I've not dried this, have I? Ooh. I'm living dangerously tonight. Not drying. Oof. I'm just going to keep adding, building this colour up. I'm actually really liking this, so don't know if you can quite see. If I hold that up, yeah, just that little hint. There we go. And then I am going to start adding it to my petals, and I'm only going to do one layer. I know, I'm full of decisions at the moment, aren't I? I'm going to keep adding more colour to it as we go around. Oops, completely missed the flower petal then. I need to add a little bit more to it. So I'm not going to add here because I've added some water and I don't want it to come back up my ink pad. I know the distress inks and they're a lot more forgiving, but I still don't want to be adding water to my ink pad because that's never a good thing, is it? Unless it's dried up, you know, like it's really old, and sometimes a little spritz does give it another little bit at least alive, but only when you know it's when it's heading for the bin, let's put it that way. Sometimes that little spritz can just give you enough. I am actually loving this. Wasn't too sure. I'll admit that. I'm glad I didn't go with the black. If I'd have done the lady, I'd have probably stamped the handwriting in the black. But because this is a much more detailed image, it's got all bits in it basically. I'm just going to add a bit more to my table. I have to go around here because I can't see where my water spot is. There we go. There's a wet patch somewhere, there it is. Yep, I'm just going to keep adding. And that paper that I wasn't too keen on a minute ago, I'm really starting to love. Right, let's just clean up what feels like the hole in my desk, because I'm not sure where I've ended up with that now. There we go. And then I just want to do my centre as well. So looking at this, I think what I'm going to do, I've got my yellow right in the middle. Oh, it's perfect, doesn't it? And bring it through. I think so. So I'm going going to grab my yellow again. I need a smidgen. There we go. Ooh, that's really watery. I should take some of that out of my brush. Otherwise I will be regretting that, because this is only paper. It's quite a thick paper, but it's still only a paper. So I'm going to give it a fighting chance. There we go. Just use that brush out to our advantage. I've missed a bit of my design there. Sort that out in a moment. Get rid of that yellow. Let's get this dry this time. Turn it over. Ooh. It always feels a shame, doesn't it, when they do double-sided papers? So I suppose if it's not to your liking on one side, you've got the other one that might be. I think that was a bit too dark for what we were doing tonight. Right, and if you remember, I keep going on about my white dots. We will put our white dots on our background soon. But as soon as I put that layer on, if I want to do any more stamping, I've got an extra depth to take into account. So it's going to be the last thing I do on my background. I'm just going to come along and, because it's a double layer design, you know where I doodle it and then I do it again, I'm going to just colour them in. Then we've got all them dots and things that we want to do our doodling in as well. There we go. So I'm just putting little dots in. I just think it gives it a bit more character, definition. Not quite sure the word I'm looking for. There we go. Right. Can you see me middle? Yeah. It's having a bit of a dance now. And then I've got all these little dots here. And then I'm just going to keep turning this round. And then on the ones that I've got, can you see on this one here, the dots are in a different place, and I've got these little ones. So I'm just going to come across. Oops. Sending my eyes funny. Hang on, that one. Yeah, they was sending me eyes funny, that one. So can you see I have just popped, sending camera's eyes funny too. No, I don't want to do it. There you go. A little bit of white in there. Yep. See, it wasn't just my eyes that were sending funny. I'm just going to pop that there. I've got a bit of a crusty end on my pen, so I'm just going to wipe it off. And again, my little white bits in some of these. Oh, we could. I'm quite liking the white. I was going to say we could grab another colour from our background and bring that in as well, which we might do because I've only coloured in every other one. Oops. There we go. I know this takes time, but I think it's going to be worth it. Just those little details, isn't it? To me, this is a fun bit. Just getting in there and doodling. Oops. Come on. As I did say, we need to go back and just fix that bit where I didn't stamp properly. I've lost track which ones I'm colouring in and which ones I'm not. There we go. It's like I was, little lady was making something the other day. She was making some shorts, and she had a pattern that had all the Harry Potter symbols on it, and for the life of me I couldn't get the pattern straight along the lines because they were all in a line, but I just couldn't, no matter what I did, I just couldn't get the pattern to line up straight on it. It took me 2 or 3 attempts because I do actually think it was on an angle because the stretch wasn't quite right when she'd finished. And the fact that she let me do it tells me it wasn't an easy one to line up. I got the no, you can do that one. There we go, last one. Last one. Right. So, just need to grab a black because there was that little bit there that I'd done. I think no one will know now. Well, they will if my pen decides it wants to. Thank you. Here we go. Just pop that back on again. Oops, making it worse. Right, there we go. Now no one will know I made a mistake there. So we have, obviously we need to cut it out, don't we? I actually think we're going to stamp our flower again in the background. I know, thinking. You can hear the cogs turning. I'm going to put my flower behind. I'm going to do it here though. So I want one in this gap here and one in this gap down here. And I'm actually going to stamp it in brown. I know I'm introducing loads and loads of colours, but I've already broken my own like 3 colours and black rule because we've got a rainbow of 5 colours already, and grey and black. So what's a bit of brown being thrown in as well? Oh, I'll tell you what would look amazing, and I know we can't get this one anymore, but toffee. And at some point this little one's going to run out. There we go. So I want one in this gap up here. Just means I need to dry it again, doesn't it? There. Thank you. It doesn't have to be wonderful. Good job, because it was nowhere near. Didn't think I didn't melt very well, to be fair. Could have done it in tea dye actually, that would have made more sense. I'm just going to whack it round and pop this one down here. I'm not really worried about that bit of stamping. To be fair, I'm not really worried about any of it stamping. The background, I'm not going to worry. And then, where did I put it? I'm just going to grab, I know, back to my tea dye that didn't want to colour the first time. I'm going to put a big patch on my table this time. And this is also going to reactivate my brusho. So I need to try and keep my brush as dry as possible. Squeaky chair time. There we go. And I'm just going to pull a little bit. No, it's going to be too pale. Maybe not. Have faith, girl. Have faith. I can't tell if that's me reactivating the brusho, which is make it go darker, or the tea dye. Either way, there'll be a little bit of the brown colour of the tea dye on there. Oh, there is a bit. There we go. Where am I going here? You see, I'm not even bothering to paint it properly. Just want a little bit of colour in those end of the petals. It's only really subtle, it's not nothing too much. Go, I'm going to put a bit more down. Probably help if I had a juicier ink pad though. So you can just see I'm getting a little hint of colour. And most people are not going to see this. It's only me because I know it's there. Especially because it's a journal piece. There we go. Right, let's get this dry. Yeah. I need to dry my flour as well, don't I? Can you see there's just that little bit of the brown in the edges? Yep, which then pulls it to that front one. So let's make sure this is dry. I keep saying that, don't I? Every time I touch this piece it needs to be dry, dry. Not a little bit dry, dry, dry. Because you know what I'm like, I am very impatient. I kind of have the, yeah, it'll do, not this time. I want it to be not perfect, because it's never perfect. Right, I'm going to leave it. And we're just going to straighten it out a bit. And we're going to grab our dotties, our spots. Now I'm sure this was a monthly make. I know some of you got this one. So we've just got our little spots. And it's all well and good me getting my stamp ready and everything, but I haven't got my embossing powder. Oh. So there's that one. one. I'm going to go with my dirty pad again, I think. Because the reason that... So I've got my clean pads, which basically should be clean, yeah? And then I've got my dirty pad. So this is the pad I would use over my oxides, my inks, my brush show, because when they get wet, they reactivate. So the chances are, at some point, whether I mean to or not, I'm going to be re-picking up my brush show onto my stamp, which then means my stamp goes into my ink pad, and my ink pad gets my brush show back on it. Yep. I've always got one that's dirty, because it used to be a clean one, to be fair. And then it was not so clean. And none of you are surprised about that, are you? So I'm just going to put... Ooh! Got a face full of them. Night, Noala. There we go. So, just a little bit of anti-static bag that went everywhere. I'm just going to do a few of our dotties. So I use the tinted one because in theory you should be able to see where you've inked, but I can't. Well, I probably could if I danced around a bit. So there it is. I'm just going to pop a little bit on there. Got all sorts attacking me down here. Move them over there. And you can be moved over there as well. So I'm just going to do a little on that one, and then this one. So now I've got one positioned, I can start making my pattern up, can't I? Just like that. Oops. I've got even more than I thought here. I went dotty crazy there. Absolutely dotty crazy. I'm going to start on this side before the whole thing gets dotted. I'm going to do exactly the same. Pop it on here. There we go. Couldn't figure out how to pick it up then. Just going to twist it around like we did up there. Twist it around again. Do, do, do. I'm going to leave that like that. So let's get the lid on. Last bit of drying, I promise. Put my lid back on there before I do any damage. Move them to one side. Grab my scissors while I was over there. Heat gun. It's not my light attacking me, it's my brushes. So I'm just going to dry these off. I don't try and remember to do them all, because I've got a habit of forgetting, haven't I? I was obsessing about my white dots. You see, they turned out quite well. I've done them in paint, or could have done them as a stencil or something like that. There we go. I'm going to leave that to dry. I'm going to start cutting this one out. So, it's going to work, isn't it? It's going to work. I'm going to do a tiny border. Only because it's quite a thin black line. Go around the edges. I'm glad I spent that time putting the and then I can cheat as well. If I leave a little border, you see these little wiggly bits, yeah? We can cut around them, we don't have to cut them out. I'm glad I spent time putting that tea dye on. We're just whipping around this one. Not the neatest of colouring in, of cutting out even, or colouring in. There we go. That is going to go on the top like so. And you just know what words I'm going for on this in a minute. But before I do, I want... sorry, I know it's late. But these guys. If I've done it on the top one, I'm going to do it on this one too. I know it's slightly distressed, this bottom one. There we go, I'm just going to turn it around that way. And you can just see, can't you, it's starting to really come together. It's like I almost planned it tonight. I didn't, but I never plan it. I just grab a couple of stamps, have a bit of an idea and hope for the best. And sometimes it works and sometimes not so much. There we go. And this is showing up a lot better because we're on darker full background. Yeah, nearly there. Don't need to do that one because it's not on any colours. It is there though. There we go, so it's going to go like that. Please give us picking that one up. Yeah. It is, it's just starting to come together, isn't it? Oops. Nearly pressed one button there. Yeah, it is, it's a good one, this one, isn't it? He's an oldie but a goodie. Been saying that a lot recently, haven't I? I think it's because I've been having a bit of a tidy out, a bit of a sort. Finding some of the older ones that I don't tend to use as much. But I know they're in people's stashes, so let's get using them. There we go, nearly there. Promise, I'm not going to keep fapping. I think we are well and truly behind that now, aren't we? There we go. I hope you'll see why I did that little bit of white. Lift it up. Yeah. Just pulls it all together, doesn't it? Right. Last thing I want to do is, I've got a new slight obsession. And those of you who've got your monthly make will know what it is. Because I think it works so well on. Nice straight lines. I know I don't normally do straight lines. Let's do it that way, shall we? Pull, oik it that way a bit. There we go. Just going to turn it round. The only downside is my polyplate curves at the bottom, at the edges. Just have to just move it aside. Oops. There we go. Turn it round again. So we are adding that frame back to it. So if you'd have, if you wanted it all neat and tidy and you decided to mask it off, you just go around your masked off area. Again, words tonight. Oof. To be fair, it's been words all day today. They're coming home from school telling me that he's reading a new book in class. I was like, right, great. What's it called? He said August. I was like, right, okay. So, and there's a film about it, and I want to watch the film. I was like, right, okay. So I spent ages looking for this book about August, called August. Nope, no book called August. I've just been naughty and gone straight through my dots there. In the end, I found it. It was a book called Wonder. It's a lovely, well, from the bit of the film I've seen, it's a lovely book. So he's asked if we can read the book as well at home, which is fine. Now I know what the book's actually called. It took me a while. Right, I'm not faffing anymore, because that's just going to get stuck down there. Here, I'm just going to put the date, which is the 3rd of May. And then when that gets stuck in my not index card, a bit big for an index card, isn't it? Journal, that's the word I'm looking for. Journal. Might actually glue it down if my glue wants to play. But you know my glue doesn't always... Oh! I spoke too soon. There we go. Apparently if you tap your glue and your glossy accents, it's meant to make it all shoot back down the nozzle so it doesn't clog it up. I've tried it before, but you know, I'm giving it another whirl. I'm just going to splat that right in the middle. There you go. It's worked. Look at that background though. You've got to admit, It is beautiful. Rachel knows the film. It is a book. It's one of there's like a reader of the year or readers of the year or something going on at school, and apparently it's one of the books that schools are reading. So yeah, it's wonderful. Oh, don't tell me that. I've only watched about half the film, and to be fair, I did need tissues for the first half, but Bear loved it. He's loving the story. It's all about inclusion and it's just a wonderful book. Well, film. I want to read the book as well as Bear. There you go. Oh, thank you, Maxine. I did. I've had fun making that. But you can see all those different layers. We've got our numbers in the background, and we've got our dots, because I was obsessing about my white dots, but you can see why. Yeah, you can see why I was obsessing about my white dots. And then we've got our flower. It's not really in the middle, but it works. And then that pattern paper that would have sat there looking at me for the next however long. And we just spruced it up a little bit using our handwriting. So there you go. All done. Let me see if I can get the right button. There we go. Right, so that's it for me tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. What have we got? What have we got next? Monday, Monthly Make Monday. New box time. I hope they all arrive by Monday. They went out on Tuesday, so I'm hoping. So new Monthly Make being launched on Monday. I do like it. I'm not going to say any more about it, but yeah, new Monthly Make on Monday, and then on Wednesday we have some new stamps similar to the Monthly Make. Yeah. And then on Saturday we're over at Birmingham, so busy week for us next week. And there was something else. Can't remember. It'll pop back into my head. It always does. As soon as I click that, like, stop streaming, it pops back into my head. Can't remember what it is. Yeah. Anyway, Monthly Make Monday, new box on Monday, then new stamps on Wednesday, and then we're in Birmingham on Saturday. Big week ahead. So take care, stay safe, and I will see you again very soon. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon. Bye for now.